What's going on, everybody? I'm Giant Opinion Sports, and today we're going to talk about an all-around football player. Chad Muma isn't the most athletically gifted prospect, but this kid is a dog. He doesn't suffer from insanity. He enjoys every minute of it. When you watch Muma play, it looks like he loves the game. He plays with passion. It just looks right. You wouldn't think there was a kid that had to slowly earn his starting role at middle linebacker. And honestly, he just really hasn't played many games at this point. When Muma broke into Wyoming, now Cincinnati Bengal Logan Wilson was firmly entrenched at middle linebacker. Muma had to play special teams as a freshman to get any kind of playing time. His second season, he finally started to see the field as a reserve player. Now finally this past season, Logan Wilson was drafted and Chad Muma got his shot. He did not miss a beat. He started putting up eye-popping stats and plays on tape. He has a nose for sacks, interceptions that just end up in the end zone. He had multiple games with 2+ tackles for loss. He's a 3-down, sideline to sideline linebacker. He don't have that elite speed, but he is very quick. When he takes off, it's almost like he's sitting on a rocket. Not only does he have great burst, but he's got some great agility. You see him on tape often redirect, dodge blockers. He's just one of those guys that you just can't get squared up. And even when you do get your hands on him, he's excellent at disengaging blocks. But athletic stuff aside, I think the best part of his game is just his mind. He's especially great at diagnosing the run. He reads plays like a seasoned vet, and he fills the right gaps 99% of the time. It's rare to see him misdiagnose a play and give up like a long run or something. I bet you could probably count on one hand the amount of times he's been gashed. And when Chad Muma gets you lined up and he's full speed, he's going to ruin your week. I promise you that. He's going to thump you. He's a sneaky heavy hitter, and that's something that's not always brought up with him. Now, his tackling is pretty rock solid. I don't have really any complaints in that department. He regularly wraps up. Not many tackles are going to get away from him. I think his tackling is the last thing you need to worry about. Now, the complaints I hear about Muma are few and far between, but there is a few. One that I've heard is that Wyoming is a small school, and the competition they play isn't the most challenging. We never got to see Muma go up against a top powerhouse kind of school. Some scouts will label that a negative, and probably right down at the NFL will be a big transition for him. But listen, it's a big transition for all players, so I'm probably less worried about this with Muma because he's just a leader. He was a leader of the entire locker room from what I read at Wyoming. Muma is going to take the coaching. I think he's going to be as prepared as he can be. I like his chances of making an early impact on an NFL roster. At the minimum, he should be a day one special teams player. He was pretty good in that department. But I could see him getting some playing time year one on the defense. That's just me. Another negative is I'm sure some scouts will try and compare him to Logan Wilson, and what he's done so far. Even though that's not fair to me, I'd understand it because they're so similar. When Logan Wilson went to the Bengals, he didn't make an instant impact. I believe it took an injury to get him some playing time this year finally, but listen, he's played pretty well over there when he finally got a shot. I've heard people hype up Chad Muma's coverage. I'm not going to consider him a great coverage linebacker. I'll say he's good, not great. He has no problem with pass plays in front of him. He reads and reacts well, so the short stuff isn't the issue with me. It's the passes that are behind him or over his head. So a defense that he's on might want to have him get more depth in his pass sets. That's one way to avoid this problem. I don't think he's like a liability in coverage, but I think he's not as good as some people make him out to be. But listen, if I told you get a 3-down, sideline to sideline middle linebacker that diagnoses offenses on a high level in the third round, are you turning that down? Think about that. I didn't even mention he's a great leader on and off the field and a heavy hitter. Chad Muma is one of my favorite prospects in this year's draft class. I love smart, tireless, working players. They don't bust very often. You're at least going to get a solid prospect, solid player. I think Chad Muma will be an early contributor to a defense. I could possibly see him as a second or third year starter, but I'm confident that Chad will have a long, successful career. I really want this guy in the Giants. It probably won't happen. Whoever drafts him might end up with one of the steals of this year's draft. I am that high on Chad Muma. When you hit big on a middle linebacker, it is such a nice thing to have on your defense. Is a premium thing to have. But that's it on Chad Muma. You guys let me know how you feel about him down in the comments. Do you like him? Do you love him? Maybe do you see something as an issue that I didn't mention? Maybe you see something that's he's really good at that I didn't mention. Let me know in the comments. Also, where do you think he's going to get drafted? This is very interesting. When all this stuff happened, I was hearing fourth round. Now I'm hearing him. He's probably going to slide down to the third. He keeps getting bumped higher and higher and higher up in the draft. I'm kind of wondering how you guys feel about it. Where do you think he'll go? So anyways, that's it for me. Please like the video. These take a while. I watch at least 5 or 6 games minimum to make these videos, so the likes keep me engaged, keep me motivated to do more videos. If you're new, subscribe. I got tons of these draft profile videos all the way up to the draft. And I've also made a decision that 2 or 3 times next year I'm going to have an update on all the prospects that I made videos on to see how they're transitioning NFL, if I was right or wrong. But that's it for me. Peace.